What's up, my flavor savvies? Hey, how are you? I just wanted to jump on here today, because I'm procrastinating. I was planning to record one of my course sessions today, and morning hasn't gone as planned, but that's okay. So I had the coolest conversation this morning online in the group about cravings. And the cool thing is, I actually started the conversation based upon a recipe, right? If you guys have been following along, you know I'm not like a strict recipe girl. I truly approach recipes from kind of, a technique philosophy because I understand flavor. And my dog is in the background, so you get to meet Leo. Um, and So the post was about recipes, and I had one of our members, Nye Galloway, actually responded about my challenges that I was having around being able to process protein. I think we're all on this journey where we're trying to find what's right for our bodies. And part of my flavor journey is really paying attention to cravings and the philosophy of the nutrition that should be behind flavor, right? Because our food has changed so much. The way it's being grown, it's flavorless, and as a result, we're creating a demand for flavor, which is resulting in more manufactured flavors, which, in my opinion, is just sending us down the wrong road. I think the intention of flavoring that's happening in factories, probably has some good intention behind it, but the reality is that our bodies are being confused by the flavor that's happening out there. So the cool thing about this, what happened this morning, is that I posted the recipe, talked about flavor, talked about the fact that I have a hard time processing fats and proteins. And the response was that, and he put it more eloquently than I'm going to say it here, but basically pointing out the fact that our bodies process proteins better when we're exercising more vigorously. And when our bodies sometimes take a break from exercise and you're not giving it the fuel in the way of exercise, that has a hard time with the protein. And it just kind of blew my mind because for me, it's always made perfect sense that if you need protein in your diet, or if you do better on a high protein diet, it's probably because you are exercising more or have a bigger, more of a muscle-y kind of constitution. Doug is all muscle, so he definitely needs more protein than me. But I never thought about it from the perspective of I am not an exerciser. It is a horrible thing to admit. I know that I need to find inspiration, and I have my own stories about why I don't exercise. But what if, right? What if my body can't process protein because I'm not exercising enough? Like, I think that just makes total sense. And the flip side of that, when it comes to the flavor side of things, is umami, which is not necessarily a phrase that people are really familiar with, but it really indicates the flavor that is the presence of protein. And it is delicious. And we all love umami flavor, whether we know it or not. It is one of those flavors that I truly enjoy. I love the flavor of protein. And I'm always drawn to these snacks that are, artificially flavored with a classic flavoring is MSG. And sadly, it is in everything again. It has kind of fallen off the radar as one of these red flagged ingredients, and it's still everywhere. And it's because it's a flavor that we all love, right? So I find myself, if I want a snack, I want something that has that flavor in it. So the fact that I'm drawn to protein, but my body doesn't necessarily always process it well, something's not in sync, right? So Nye Galloway might be the first person to ever give me actual inspiration to exercise from the perspective of flavor. So thank you for that. So anyway, this week we are going to talk about cravings as a result of this conversation, and also because it's a big part of my messaging here. I really want us to tune into the cravings that our bodies are having, the flavors that are behind those cravings, and the nutrition that should be behind that flavor. That's really what this group is all about in a nutshell. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what are your cravings, right? Like, is it for a specific food? Can you lean it into the category of sweet or salty? Um, what is it that you feel like you can't stop eating? And what might be your potential emotional cravings or physical cravings behind that? Keeping in mind this cool thing that I just experienced, and that my cravings could literally be telling me to go exercise and get in the gym. I mean, we have to open our minds to this whole idea. Like, cravings to me are our body's only ability to speak to us in a physical way, right? Like, cravings are our bodies talking to us, screaming to us, telling us that we need something. And it's our choice to decide how we're going to fill that craving, right? Is it an emotional craving? Is it a physical craving? If it is indeed like a nutrient craving and you're reaching for a flavor, does that flavor have nutrition behind it? It's really a big, big part of what this group is all about, and what I'm trying to investigate in the world and draw community in the world around. So anyway, I also wanted to pop on and see if anybody had questions about recipes. Yes, Philip says he's a salty guy. I am a salty guy too, and we will talk next week when you come to visit, because I have had some revelations around salt and my cravings around salt. So when you come for our appointment next week, we'll talk about that a little bit more. So I also wanted to check in, see if anybody has questions about recipes this week. You know, most of my posts have been around this idea that recipes are a guideline. And when it comes to flavor, we have lots and lots of flexibility in recipes once you understand, you know, how they play together, what the nutrition is behind them. So I know that not everybody's on live. If you pop on live later and watch the video and have questions, if you've tried to kind of analyze a recipe this week from a flavor perspective, I'd love to hear how it goes. If it's confusing, if you don't get it, that's fine too. This is all just a journey. But I wanted to pop on real quick, say hi, kind of talk about this inspiring conversation that I had this morning, and let you guys know that we're going to be talking about cravings next week. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks, guys. Have a great Friday. See ya.